안녕하세요. 이제 마태복음 27장, 28장 마무리하도록 하겠습니다.
Now when morning had come, all the chief priests and the elders of the people took counsel against Jesus to put him to death. And having bound him, they led him away and delivered him to Pilate the governor. Then Judas, who betrayed him, seeing that he was condemned, regretted and returned the 30 pieces of silver to the chief priests and elders, saying, I have sinned in betraying innocent blood. But they said, what is that to us? You see to that yourself. And he threw the pieces of silver into the temple and departed. And he went away and hanged himself.
And the chief priests took the pieces of silver and said, it is not lawful to put them into the temple treasury, since it is blood money. And after taking counsel, they bought with it the potter's field as a burial place for strangers. Therefore, that field has been called the field of blood to this day. And that at that time, what was spoken through Jeremiah the prophet was fulfilled, saying, and they took the 30 pieces of silver, the price of him that had been priced, whom they of the sons of Israel had priced, and they gave them to the potter's field as the Lord directed me.
And Jesus stood before the governor, and the governor questioned him, saying, are you the king of the Jews? And Jesus said, it is as you say. And while he was being accused by the chief priests and elders, he answered nothing. Then Pilate said to him, do you not hear how many things they testify against you? And he did not answer him, not even to one word, so that the governor marveled greatly. Now at the feast, the governor was accustomed to release to the crowd one prisoner whom they wanted.
And they had at that time a notorious prisoner named Barabbas. Therefore, when they were gathered together, Pilate said to them, whom do you want me to release to you, Barabbas or Jesus, who is called Christ? For he knew that it was because of envy that they had delivered him up. And while he was sitting at the judgment seat, his wife sent word to him, saying, have nothing to do with that righteous man, for I have suffered much today in a dream because of him. But the chief priests and the elders persuaded the crowds to ask for Barabbas and to destroy Jesus.
And the governor answered and said to them, which of the two do you want me to release to you? And they said, Barabbas. Pilate said to them, what then shall I do with Jesus, who is called Christ? They all said, let him be crucified. But he said, why? What evil has he done? But they cried out the more, saying, let him be crucified. And Pilate, seeing that nothing was gained, but rather that an uproar was taking place, took water and washed his hands before the crowd, saying, I am innocent of this man's blood. You see to it yourselves. And all the people answered and said, his blood be upon us and upon our children.
Then he released them to them for
Barabbas.
But Jesus he scourged and delivered up to be crucified. Then the governor's soldier took Jesus into the praetorium and gathered about him the whole cohort. And they stripped him and put a scarlet robe around him, and they wove a crown of thorns and placed it on his head and put a reed in his right hand. And they kneeled before him and mocked him, saying, rejoice, King of the Jews. And they spat on him and took the reed and beat him on the head.
And when they had mocked him, they stripped him of the robe and put his garments on him and led him away to crucify him. And as they were going out, they found a man of Cyrene, Simon by his name. This one they compelled to take up his cross. And when they had come to a place called Golgotha, that is to say, place of a skull, they gave him wine to drink, mingled with gall. And when he tasted it, he would not drink. And when they had crucified him, they divided his garments among themselves, casting lots.
And they sat down, and God gave him there, and they set it writing over his head the charge against him. This is Jesus, the King of the Jews. At the time, 2 robbers were crucified with him, one on the right and one on the left. And those who were passing by blasphemed him, raising their heads and saying, "You who destroyed the temple and built it up in 3 days, save yourself. If you are the Son of God, come down from the cross."
Likewise, also the chief priests with the scribes and the elders mocked him and said, "He saved others, himself he cannot save. He is the King of Israel. Let him come down now from the cross, and we will believe on him. If he trusts in God, let him rescue him now if he wants him, for he said, 'I am the Son of God.'" And in the same way, the robbers who were crucified with him also reproached him. Now from the 6th hour, darkness fell over all the land until the 9th hour.
And about the 9th hour, Jesus cried out with a loud voice, saying, "Eli, Eli, lama sabachthani." That is, my God, why have you forsaken me?" And some of those standing there, when they heard this, said, "This man is calling Elijah." And immediately one of them ran, and taking a sponge, he soaked it with vinegar and put it on a reed and gave it to him to drink. But the rest said, "Let him be. Let us see if Elijah is coming to save him." And Jesus cried out again with a loud voice and yielded up his spirit.
And behold, the veil of the temple was split in two from top to bottom, and the earth was shaken, and the rocks were split. And the tombs were opened, and many bodies of the saints who had fallen asleep were raised. And they came out of the tombs after his resurrection, and entered into the holy city, and appeared to many. Now, when the centurion and those with him guarding Jesus, when they saw the earthquake and the things that happened, became greatly frightened, saying, "Truly, this was the Son of God." And many women who were there, looking on from a distance, who had followed Jesus from Galilee, ministered to him.
Among whom were Mary the Magdalene, and Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of the sons of Zebedee. And when evening fell, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who himself had also become a disciple of Jesus. This man came to Pilate and asked for the body of Jesus. Then Pilate commanded that it be given to him. And Jesus took the body and wrapped it in a clean, fine linen cloth. And he laid it in his own new tomb, which he had hewn on the rock. And having rolled a great stone in front of the door of the tomb, he went away.
And Mary the Magdalene was there, and the other Mary sitting opposite the grave. On the next day, which is the day after the preparation, the chief priests and the Pharisees gathered unto Pilate, saying, "Sir, we have remembered that while he was still living, that the Savior said, 'After 3 days I will arise.' Therefore give order for the grave to be secured until the third day, lest his disciples come and steal him away, and say to the people, 'He had been raised from the dead,' and the last reception will be worse than the first." Pilate said to them, "Take a guard, go and make the tomb as securely as you know how." And they went and secured the grave, stealing the stone, with the guard being there.
Now, late on the Sabbath, as it began to dawn towards the first day of the week, Mary the Magdalene and the other Mary came to look at the grave. And behold, there was a great earthquake, for an angel of the Lord descended out of heaven and came and rolled away the stone and sat upon it. And his appearance was like lightning, and his garment as white as snow. And for fear of him, the guards shook and became like dead men. And the angel answered and said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are seeking Jesus, the crucified.
He is not here, for he has been raised. Even as he said, come, see the place where he was lying. And go quickly and tell his disciples that he has been raised from the dead. And behold, he goes before you into Galilee. There you will see him. Behold, I have told you." And they ran away quickly from the tomb with fear and great joy, and ran to report this to his disciples. And behold, Jesus met them, saying, "Rejoice." And they came to him and took hold of his feet and worshipped him. Then Jesus said to them, "Do not be afraid. Go and report my brothers that they should go into Galilee, and there they will see me."
And as they were going, behold, some from the guard came into the city and reported to the chief priests all that had happened. And the chief priests had gathered with the elders and had taken counsel. They gave a large sum of money to the soldiers, saying, "Say this, his disciples came by night and stole him away while we slept. And if this comes to the governor's ears, we will persuade him and make sure that you have nothing to worry about." And they took the money and did as they were instructed. And this account had been very widely spread among the Jews until this very day.
And the 11 disciples went to Galilee, to the mountain where Jesus directed them. And when they saw him, they worshipped him, though some doubted. And Jesus came and spoke to them, saying, "All authority has been given to me in heaven and on earth. Go therefore and disciple all of the nations, baptizing them into the name of the Father and of the Son and of the Holy Spirit, teaching them to observe all that I have commanded you. And behold, I am with you all the days until the consummation of the age."
아멘. 네, 여기까지 읽겠습니다. 감사합니다.